A lot of brands use Black Friday and Cyber Monday to get a temporary boost in revenue. But what I'm going to show you in this video is how we go about making Black Friday, Cyber Monday a long-term play instead of a short-term one. Alright, so getting long-term wins during this Black Friday and Cyber Monday, right? Many brands are using, well, not just this Black Friday, but, you know, every Black Friday, right? The ones that we've had in 2023, 2022, and way before as well. They use it to get a temporary spike in their revenue, right, for November. When in reality, this doesn't really provide anything to the long-term goal. Now, of course, you might get a spike in revenue, you might even spike in profits, right? That might be the case because your ad costs might go down, right? But you're not actually doing anything to work towards your main goal, which is to have obviously a sustainable business that grows over time, right? So in my opinion, this month should be used to create long-term success and to gain long-term customers, right? Now, there's a lot of ways to do this, and I'm gonna go over one of the main things that we do, right, during this time, which is CRO, right? And this is because Black Friday and Cyber Monday is a high traffic period, which means CRO is going to be a lot easier, quicker, and even more effective potentially. So step one is going to be a research phase, right? We follow a thorough research process, which ensures that we don't just change things on websites based off how we feel, right? It's very easy to fall into that trap. I see a lot of people do that within the CRO space, or if it's a brand, they try the CRO themselves. They'll just look at the website and they'll think this works better, but at the end of the day, you're not your customer and you're not going to be able to tell the future, right? You don't know what's going to work. The best way to get to that conclusion of what works and what doesn't is by testing. So how we do this is, firstly, we do the research, right? So we set up Google Analytics. I'm going to go over, why you need to set this up. We set up heat maps, right? Scroll maps, screen recording. We set up surveys. And we also do heuristic analysis, which is basically where kind of judge, right, the user experience with, educated guesses, right, based off our experience, stuff like that. But that's just the final step, and the other steps are technically going to be more important because it's going to be data driven, right? And now, as I said, the reason Black Friday, Cyber Monday is going to make this whole you can do this whole process throughout, any month of the year, right? It doesn't matter. Like, this is just how we do CRO, but the reason it's going to be more effective during this time period is because you'll have a lot more data to go off of, because your traffic's going to be higher, your conversions are going to be higher, etc. So now, why you need Google Analytics is so one of the main things we use it for is for the funnel, right? So we can use this to see where people are dropping off the most, and that's the page we'll focus on. Now, usually it's probably going to be your product page. As you can see, it's an 85% drop-off rate, from product page to add to cart. Another big thing is also just a session to view products. It's over half of the people drop off from the session to the view product. So it might be the homepage they need to improve. As you can see, once they get to add to cart, the rate of drop off goes down, quite substantially. That's what we use Google Analytics for. Next thing is obviously the heat maps, scroll maps. So the heat map is just going to show you where users click, right? This can help you with, coming up with test ideas, right? And the scroll map is going to show you how far they scroll down the page. And this is going to show you that majority of people don't scroll below the fold, right? I'd say maybe 20%, right, might scroll below the fold, and that's just going to be slightly below the fold, and even less of that, so maybe 5% is going to scroll anywhere near the bottom. I think maybe even 1%, right? But this is going to show you that, and based off your scroll map, you can then be like, okay, I need to include, the important information that's going to help customers make the buying decision above the fold or wherever majority of people scroll to. That's just the very basics of it. Now, of course, there's a lot of other stuff that we do which goes way more into detail, but as long as you get these covered, to be honest, you should be able to come up with a good, research document, which you can then use for the next step, which is creating a hypothesis, right? Step two, we like to do everything with intention. So we write a hypothesis for every test we run, right? So this is because by confirming the hypothesis, we can learn about our target customers' behavior, right? And this is what allows us to have more successful tests. Now, I think the industry average is 1 out of 7 tests are successful. For us, it's usually about 1 out of 3, right? That's more than double the effectiveness of the industry average. And the reason this is, right, I'll give you an example. If our hypothesis is that our customers have trust issues, they just don't trust us enough, and because that's our hypothesis, a test that we come up with is, let's say, adding trust badges, right? So the payment icons below that to cart, and let's say that goes extremely well, right? Let's just, be optimistic here. And that's going to confirm that, okay, maybe trust is the issue, which can then lead us to making more tests. So we can base our next tests off of, trust, right? Off of our learnings from this test. That way our next test is going to have a very high chance of also being effective, right? And of course, step 3 is going to be the testing. We split test the change against our current website, and we use tools like VWO, also sometimes convert.com if the situation requires, but usually we stick with VWO. And we decide which is the winner, so if it's the current or the variant, based off if it's reached statistical significance. Now, this is a big thing. Some people might A/B test, which is great, right? Getting to that point is you're at a good point. You know you need to A/B test, right? But the issue is they see a couple % increase, you know, with barely any traffic, and they're like, okay, this is the winner, when in reality, it's not statistically significant. What you can use is this calculator right here, not just this one specifically, just search up free A/B test calculator. What you want to do is you can either go to pre-test calculator, right? So before you run the test to see what sort of numbers you need, right? Or if you've already run the test, you can actually check the results here and basically see if your results are, you know, a false positive, a false negative, or, you know, if it's actually even a result. Here's what you're going to do. So I'll give an example of where it's not statistically significant first. As you can see, it's a 2% conversion rate for the first one, which is, you know, your current website, and the change that you made that you're testing, it's got a 2.3% conversion rate, right? And now that's a 15% lift, which is actually pretty good, especially for big stores. But that's the issue. This isn't a big store, right? This hasn't run for long enough. It's only 2,000 visitors in total, 1,000 each variant, which means in order to actually get a significant result, which you can then conclude that this is better than the other, you're going to need a crazy increase, right? I'm probably talking maybe 30, not even that, right? Maybe 40. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to need 100% lift. This is why when it comes to RO, we tend to work with clients that have at least 30 to 50,000 visitors a month, right? At least that's the minimum. If it's less than that, it becomes really hard to actually run tests. As you can see, you're going to need 100% uplift. So you need to double your conversion rate in order to actually have a, you know, statistical significant result, which, you know, the chances you're not going to get 100% increase, right? You can maybe go for 40, 50%, which, you know, highest, but 100% is never going to happen. So, but if you were to have more visitors, right, with the exact same conversion rate, just had 10,000 visitors instead, right, still not significant, but you would need a lot less to actually make it significant, as you can see. So 25% increase in conversion rate, and as you can see, it's significant. Now, if you have a ton of visitors, as you can see, with 25,000 visitors in each variant, even with an 11% uplift, this is statistically significant. So this, your variant with a test, would actually be the winner. So you'd go ahead and implement that, right? So more visitors is going to make this a lot easier, and you can actually run the test for shorter periods. So usually with the clients we work with, doesn't go above 2, maybe 3 weeks. Even if we can do it in 1 week, we tend to go for 2 weeks as a minimum, right? So some clients could potentially go 1 week, but we go 2 weeks because we want to go through 2 full cycles, right, of a week, right? Because you have Monday to Sunday, and people behave differently based off, maybe there's an event going on, or, you know, it's weekend, weekday, blah, blah. You want to go through 2 cycles of those, at least in my opinion, which is why we do that. But potentially we can even do 5-day tests with some clients. As long as you have enough visitors, you know, you're going to be able to test more quickly. And during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, of course, you should have a spike in visitors and spike in conversions. So this should be a lot easier to do, right? And a lot quicker to run a bunch of tests. And the fourth and final step before you have to go ahead and repeat all this is going to be drawing learnings, right? You don't want to just waste these tests. So we look at the test results and we base our next decisions around what we can learn from these tests, like the results of this test, right? As I said, it's kind of similar to hypothesis. So, okay, if trust is an issue and we fix trust and the conversion rate goes up, what else can we do to fix trust, right? So it's like that. So the questions you ask yourself should be, what can we learn? What does this say about our customers' behavior? And what other experience can we now think of now that we know this, right? So as I said, this is basically just an explanation that I had for the hypothesis, which is why the hypothesis is important, because you want to learn about the customer behavior. That's going to give you a lot better tests, right? You're going to come up with a lot better tests that way, rather than just throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping it sticks, right? To be honest, even if you're watching this and it's not Black Friday, you can 100% still go ahead and do this. This is basically our CRO SOP, right? This is what we do with our team, just broken down, right? Made shorter, made more simple, but as long as you follow these steps, you should be able to improve the conversion rate quite significantly. Now, if you're an e-commerce brand and you want the ultimate Black Friday, Cyber Monday playbook, make sure to go check out the video on the right. That's it for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.